It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Thursday, August the 29th. Good morning. Yep. Nice to see you, Brian Zepp.
Steve Gorman, right back at you, my man.
Oh, thanks, man. Can you tell we're trying to wake up? And we're putting ourselves into that fake energy moment setting of the morning.
I know. I was leaned so far back in my chair right before you walked into the studio here that I was just about asleep.
Is that? Yeah, I noticed that. It seemed like you were a little
nice and quiet.
Yeah, you were just really relaxed.
Yeah.
Man, you were relaxed.
I'm in the game now, man. I'm back. I'm ready to go. Put me in, coach.
Always happy to walk in a room and immediately just start clapping like a jerk. You know what I mean? That's
Chauncey hawking one up.
Learned that one from the Duck many years ago. When I'm awakened, I had this conversation with Rosemary yesterday because I took a little cat nap in the chair, just sitting there.
Ah, that's nice.
And then something wakes me up, and when you wake me up, I'm either really confused, really terrified because I've been, running from a tornado in a dream, or I'm angry, or all three. And usually it's a combination. And she's like, seriously? I'm like, babe, how long have you known me? This is what happens. I'm in the worst mood for like a minute, and then I'm okay. But I got to say, it was funny. When I just came in here and all but woke you up, you were like a little tender kitten. You were just like, oh, okay.
Maybe I was dreaming about a tender kitten and setting it on fire.
That was really strange. No one believes me when I say that. They shouldn't either. It's time right now for your top 5 at 6. Let's let you know what's going on today as you are getting your day started. Number 5. Hey, Twins. Let's go, guys. We just dropped another one to the Braves. That's yet another sweep. I mean, the good news is, and if we make the postseason, we don't have to play a National League team until the World Series because we're just getting boat raced by these NL teams.
I've only caught a couple of games in this losing streak, but it's not who they're playing. It's how they're playing. And they've got the bats. We know that they play a different brand of baseball, and they just got to get it back on track here in September. No more screwing around. You're allowed these a little earlier in the season, but now, all right, get your losing streak out of the way now and start swinging the bats and get her done. And I don't know what's the deal with the pitching there and the relievers.
That's a whole nother thing. That's the bullpen right now. It's just straight up ugly. 3.5 games, again now behind Cleveland. That's their 8th loss in 10. Let's go. Toronto comes in over the weekend. Hopefully we turn it around. Number 4 on your top 5 at 6. The Farmer's Almanac said we were going to have a pretty cold, wet winter. The old Farmer's Almanac.
Oh yeah, that's
the old Farmer's Almanac has come out and said, no, we're not. They're saying kind of mild, kind of dry, according to the old Farmer's Almanac. It says cold in the upper Midwest, but winter 24-25 will not be as cold as usual. Precipitation and snowfall below average. Snowiest periods will be late November, late December, early February, and mid-March.
What I love about this is that a lot of Minnesotans, there's Tony over there going, that sounds nice. Because Tony doesn't do anything in the winter. What do you care if it's cold and snowy out?
No, I don't like winter.
You don't like ice fishing? You don't like snowmobiling? You don't like skiing? But you're going to stay in anyway. If it's nice and mild, it's not like you're going to go out and enjoy it. You're going to be indoors anyway.
I go to my car. I look out the window.
That minute and a half that you spend outside each day, it would be nice to get some ice fishing in. For the snowmobile industry, I think of all those people in that industry that work that and want to get out and be a winter enthusiast. Enjoy what Minnesota has to offer here in the winter. Let's hope the old Farmer's Almanac gets it wrong this year.
From 1981 to now, what is that, 43 years? The average snowfall in the Twin Cities? 54.4 inches.
Yeah.
Let's go for an average winter.
Yeah.
We don't have to go under. We don't have to go over. Let's go right down. Let's go right at 55, baby.
I'm predicting 72.
72 inches, says Brian Zepp. 7 inches, says Tony. And I'm gonna go right down the middle. 55. Number 3 on your top 5 and 6. The Minnesota State Fair's deep fried ranch is a big hit.
I'm shocked.
There were questions about it going in, only from people who've never been to Minnesota.
Right.
Lulu's Public House. I was out there a couple days ago, and the line at Lulu's, I was like, what? I went to go see a band play at the stage right next door, and I was like, what the hell? What is this line about?
Yeah.
I'll just go get my beer right next door where there's no one. And then someone said, oh, that's where the deep fried ranch is. And literally, you were waiting in line for an hour. I mean, it was way back. But the word on the street, a screaming success. The deep fried ranch, triangles, the wedges, whatever you want to call it.
It captures the imagination. It reminds me of a buddy of mine that worked out there in the late 1990s and worked at one of these deep fried places. And he would just take a stick. We just sat there one night having a few beers, and he would take a stick and he would dip it in the deep fryer and pull it out and let the grease just solidify and then put it back in. And he did that 100 times until he just had a deep fried. It was just a stick of nothing but deep fried.
Yeah.
Wow. Pretty good after about 5 or 6 beers.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Yeah, but they're
job.
time consuming. The line would be too long.
I feel sorry for the cheese curd now. It was a staple and so famous for so long.
It's a relic from such a quaint era.
I
the
know,
poor curd.
You can get right in that line. The deep fried pickle line, still very long. A lot of them are out there. And the pork chop on a stick, my favorite at the state fair, still very long.
Yeah.
But the cheese curds, why not? You can hit them 4 or 5 times.
Speaking of cheese curds, good morning to Baldwin, Wisconsin.
Hey,
Baldwin, what's happening over there?
Home of Twin Cities skydiving. I've seen Baldwin from 13,000 feet.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, that's Twin Cities skydiving is actually in Baldwin, Wisconsin. So I think they're still out there.
Also the home of Fireworks City. Don't kid yourself.
Oh, yeah. You can find some boomers out there.
Want to go pick up an angry wife or a sweet cheeks or a mad scientist? You know right where to go. Rock on, Baldwin. Number 2 on your top 5 at 6, West Vile Nirus. Those damn mosquitoes. It is, 33 states now reporting cases of West Vile Nirus, and that does, of course, include Minnesota. Nobody in the Metro District, but there are 3 people in Minnesota tested positive. St. Louis, Yellow Medicine, and Nicollet counties.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
Can be very ugly. Dad had it. I remember rolling back from Sturgis, and I was picking up Sid the kid. She would do the half Sturgis. She'd ride the bike. Halfway to the Sturgis is our farm. And so I was picking her up on the way back, and Mom said, Dad's on the couch napping. He left the tractor in the field running. And I went,
oh, boy.
What?
Oh, boy.
What? Dad, he goes, I'm not feeling so good. So I shut the tractor off and told Mom, I said, Dad does never know. West Nile got meningitis of the brain.
Oh, my God. That's awful.
Almost took him out. But
that will almost do that.
The old man toughed it out and survived it. But, that West Nile, you don't want it. Sounds like a bad cold.
Get rid of that standing water. That's the most important thing. Just even in your yard, wherever. Just if it's a tiny little bit, if it's standing, just do your best to get rid of it.
You know what will take care of those skeeters? An early winter.
That certainly will.
Early cold winter.
As soon as we go below 50 degrees, we got to get down below 50 at night a couple times, and those bastards will be going until next year. Finally, number 1 on your top 5 at 6. Kickstart my heart, baby. Motley Crue is at the fair tonight.
Look out!
Yes,
Look out! You've got all the hits. You got the flaming bass. You got the. I guess he's probably not going to have the roller coaster drum kit or even the swinging around 360 drum kit. But Tommy Lee does pack a punch, as they say. He's packing a big load.
Yeah.
He's got a lot going on beyond that drum kit. So Motley Crue will get up there. John 5 in place of I've already forgotten his name. He was in the band for so long. Thank you, man. Mick Mars no longer a part of it. John 5, the young blood, the fresh. He's got all that young energy. He's probably in his mid-50s.
The last 2 times I've seen the Crew, you never really saw Mick. He was kind of back in the shadows.
Sure.
One time he was sitting on a stool, kind of lit up on stage there for a second. I'm like, is that Mick back there sitting on a stool? But yeah, he's got his own solo thing going on. Cranked out a pretty good album in February, and they've got a little youth in the band.
Motley Crue tonight. If you plan to go, then plan to let us know how it is tomorrow. I will not be attending. Just saying. I thought about it.
Make it out.
Just, I've seen them a bunch, and I love them, but, it's just one of those things. And there is your top 5 at 6. We're going to be giving away Twins tickets at about 7:50 this morning. That's always something to look forward to, a game that is. And then, of course, Twins Blue Jays hoping to get off the schneid and turn the postseason, the streak to the postseason. Let's get this thing turned around, Minnesota. And in the meantime, Motley Crue tonight in town. Why don't we go ahead and just make a plan to party like it's 1724. I'll explain. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. That is Yes, owner of a Lonely Heart. The band Yes, 70s prog rock, iconic, great run. Then they split up. They say we're going our separate ways. The world has changed. The music industry is different. And then a few of the members get together with some new, completely outside singer-songwriters, and they're putting together a new band, and they're going to call it Cinema. And this guy Trevor Rabin comes in, he writes that song, he's a guitar player, South African cat, and they're putting together this new band, and Atlantic Records says, well, you got a deal here, you're the guys from Yes, we're going to give you a deal, we think Cinema sounds great. And they record that song, and then the guys in Cinema, the newly christened Cinema, they're like, yeah, but man, John Anderson would sound great singing this. So they call the singer from Yes. Again, the band is broken up.
Yeah.
They call him. He comes in. He's like, yeah, I got this. He sings it. And then they play that for Atlantic Records. And Ahmet Ertegun is like, this is awesome. This is going to be a hit song. But you're still called Yes. And they're like, no. It's a whole different vibe. And he goes, shut up. No, boys, you're still called Yes. And this is part 2.
All right.
And sometimes the label knows what they're talking about.
Now get out of my office.
Yeah, leave it to the musicians to be like, no, it's totally cool. We'll just start from scratch with a whole new brand name. Yeah,
Cinema.
Let's go. Yeah, no, Cinema was not quite the same thing. Researchers in Italy made a very unusual discovery. This is a group of scientists in Milan. They were looking at some mummified brains they found in a crypt. In Milan, Italy. This is just like in the last few months. They found some mummified brains. They were like, hey, let's go in and test these brains and see what was kicking around Milan back in the 1600s. They were surprised to find out people were high on cocaine in Italy in the 1600s. Yeah, they were like, wait, hold on a minute. There's no way. A lot of people, the general consensus has been cocaine had not been introduced to Europe until the 1800s. And now this predates that by a couple centuries. They're like, wait, what in the world? This changes everything. Europeans in the 17th century, let's just call it what it was. They were high. They were partying. They were having a go. They were going for it.
You know, if you go back and, rerun through history again, the old history books, some of the documentaries under that context, a lot more of it makes sense. You're like, I get the fashion now. Oh, I understand why you guys were. And that's why and then you got right back into another war. I get it. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, they were fighting constantly. Those land grabs, all about the drugs. Just high as a kite. Right. I don't like the way that guy's looking at me. And why is he wearing such big pants?
A lot of us are going, well, religion, man. Boy, that religion. Boy, it sure. No, it was cocaine and getting smashed. And, they did something on, the Mayans. Why did the Mayans disappear? And then someone figured out finally, the Mayans were like doing alcohol enemas and stuff like that. They were getting really, really, really drunk. And then you're like, oh, well, that could be how society just broke down and disintegrated.
Yeah, it's called getting after it.
That's
exactly what they were doing.
How do you just stumble upon mummified brains? That's what I was wondering.
It's Italy. I've been there. I've seen stuff that looked like it could have been mummified brains.
Yeah. You poke around.
I think it was just an old Danish, but the coca.
Steve, you're eating the mummified brain.
The coca plant, which of course is native to South America. Yeah. Spaniards made it over there in the 15th century, of course, over to the Americas.
Conquistadors.
And they found the coca plants, and they were chewing them like the natives and getting high as. But that ride back to Europe was way better than the ride over. Trust me. They're like, wait, get some of those leaves. We're going back home. Yeah. But the leaves would disintegrate on the long journey. They were trying to get it back over there. They were like, imagine being a Spanish conquistador and you get on your boat to go back home and you're like, wait till the king gets a load of this. I'm going to get I'm going to get all kinds of stuff. I'll get a manor out in the country. I'll get a nice apartment in Madrid. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to get him high as a kite.
Tobacco my ass.
And then you're watching the coca leaf just disintegrate. You're like, no, God.
Disintegrate or was it just,
or ingested all of it? Like,
hey, you guys, lay off the cocoa. Some of that's for the king.
What did I find? I found a magic plant. And you have to believe it to see it, to believe it to see it. I don't even know what it is I'm saying. So anyway, Italians in the 1600s were just raging, apparently.
All right.
And,
time.
and again, if I lived back then, I've never been. Well, Tony, you're high on Coke right now, so let me ask you this.
I am.
Now,
yes, I am.
Tony screams Coke.
I
think sometimes I am absolutely 100% certain I was born at the right time. I am a man of the 21st century.
Okay.
I don't need to go back to a time when I need a whale blubber candle to see my way through the house at night. That's not going to work for me. It's kind of cute when the power goes out for an hour, and then I'm over it. You know what I mean? But I can tell you this: if I were in Italy in the 1600s and someone said, "Here's a plant, chew it, you'll get high," I'd have been like, hand it all over.
Yeah.
That I would have turned right to crime, drugs to crime, boom, that quickly. I'm going to need all that because I am not happy in this world.
I'd be on the next galleon for where are we going? Where'd you find this plant? South America.
Yeah, make no mistake about it.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Let's look back on this day in 1974. A major moment in basketball because Petersburg, Virginia High School senior Moses Malone just graduated, signed with the Utah Stars of the ABA rather than University of Maryland. He was, every college in America wanted him. He was the best player in the country. And he was like, yeah, I'm just going to go straight to the pros. And it freaked people out. And, of course, that would just set the table for 21 years later when Kevin Garnett did the same thing. A few people had come out of high school straight to the pros in the interim, but none of them really stuck. It was Kevin Garnett being drafted number 1 by the Timberwolves that really, really kicked off the whole who needs college, mindset. I should say he was 5th overall pick. He was not the number 1, but he went in the first round. Kevin Garnett, immediately impactful with the Timberwolves, as I'm sure we all remember. They went to 8 straight postseasons as soon as he got to town. Led them to the Western Conference Finals and won the NBA's MVP award. I loved Garnett. I was always like a lot of basketball fans, I didn't live here yet. But the Timberwolves were like, yeah, newer team. They're never going to do much. And as soon as Garnett got here, it was like, that was the hip guy. Everybody was like, man, I wish I had a guy like that on my team. I loved Kevin Garnett. Now, I saw him play in person several times, and I was always like, I'm watching a unicorn on a basketball court. Absolutely incredible. We don't have to talk about what happened in Boston. But, I mean, for right now, man, Garnett was it, wasn't he?
It's all the marbles. I'm sitting in the house, I'm loading up the pump. I'm loading up the Uzi. I got a couple of M16s, a couple 9s. I got a couple joints with some silencers on them. I'm just loading up clips, a couple grenades.
Yeah.
Got a missile launcher with a couple, missiles.
Yeah.
I'm ready for war.
Yeah,
Most players would say that stuff and you'd roll your eyes, and then he'd said it and you're like, yeah, he literally will eat your heart on the court if he has to beat you. On this day in 2018, Aaron Rodgers signed a record contract extension with the Green Bay Packers. 4 years, $134 million. Incentives brought it to $180 million, and $103 million of those dollars were guaranteed. Let's see, 4-year extension. That next season, they went 6-9-1. Okay, 2019, 13-3, but lost in the NFC Championship to the Niners. 2020, also 13-3, but you lost in the NFC Championship at home to Tampa Bay. And 2021, lost in the divisional to the Niners. Okay, anyway, thanks, Aaron. Thanks for playing.
Some MVPs in there, but they don't. Yeah, they don't put MVPs up on the big ring of banners there in the trophy cases in Green Bay.
You know what looks great is championships.
That's all they care about.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zepp, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Thursday, August the 29th. Good morning. Tina in River Falls texted in a request for some Van Halen. I hope Panama was good enough for you, Tina. Good morning. And good morning to all your friends in River Falls, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Lovely little area.
I love me some River Falls.
Yeah, so there you have it. Panama by Van Halen. One of the first, if not the first, definitely the second time I ever played drums in front of strangers, we played that song. And I was terrible. I was just, Just soiled the bed on that one.
He took on one of the biggies, Alex. There.
Well, I was like, I can play Lagrange, and I was like, oh, that weird fill. What am I thinking? Just fun fact, kids. Get a drum kit, play around. Don't say, I'll play a party with your cover band when you don't know how to play. Just something I had to learn the hard way.
Hopefully they were all too drunk to really notice.
Oh, I guarantee you they were, yeah. I mean, the band was called Alfred and the Stately Wayne Manners. Nobody had high hopes. I mean, at the end of the day, that's how that works. Whoever said fences make for great neighbors did not see the internet coming.
Oh, yeah.
You can build a fence as high as you want. You can live in a nuclear silo underground.
Yeah.
Because of the Nextdoor app, we still know what all of our neighbors are up to. It's the final Thursday of the month. Let's talk about how insane our neighbors are. Nextdoor nightmares.
I'm your next door neighbor.
He lives right next door.
She lives next door.
Well, if it isn't my neighbor.
Total nightmare.
I've got to say, it's a nightmare.
Go figure. The KQ Morning Show presents
Next door.
Next door.
Next door.
Nightmares.
The Nextdoor app, designed by a really funny person. We'll pretend it's to ask for extra diapers when you run out, but what it'll really be used for is things like this. The Nextdoor app, in case you're not aware of this, many neighborhoods from coast to coast all have an app. You can sign in, you put your address, you register, and then it's like, hey man, anybody got extra Pampers? The store's closed. It's supposed to be something helpful. Hey man, I noticed your Christmas lights, or you're missing some on the, whatever. You're supposed to. Yeah. But it always turns into things like this. These are real posts from the Nextdoor app. And of course, we welcome any contribution or any bizarre stories about your bizarre neighbor. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ talk and text line. Here is a post on Nextdoor. A pair of soiled shorts were left in the grove of pine trees in the back of the park. It appears the owner may have had an unexpected or uncontrollable accident, but the garment and its contents should be retrieved by the owner as soon as possible, as children often play in that area.
Oh, how do you know it was the? How do you know it was the neighbor, the owner of the home, because it was in their garbage? It was in a. There's a little grove. There's a park, a little neighborhood park, and someone found this in the pine trees.
Oh, somewhere
just
in
saying,
the hood.
someone left this.
Oh.
I know this is probably embarrassing for the owner, but it needs to be dealt with in an appropriate manner and not just left for your neighbors to deal with. Thanks.
Probably
get a response
Maybe
from one of the
someone
neighbors.
passing. Yeah,
I got it.
Maybe there's someone passing through. I doubt the person that did that probably find him in a tent city, not so much on the what's the app again?
Nextdoor
app.
Nextdoor app, baby.
Yes.
Come on, that's as good as it gets. This is a good one. If you find yourself driving down Calaba Drive, I'm not sure what neighborhood this is in, and a person is reluctant or slow to move from the front of your vehicle, look down at your speedometer. The speed limit is 25 miles per hour. I live at, and it's blocked out, his address. I have 3 kids, 11 grad kids, 2 small dogs, and I walk at least twice a day. If you think you're going to hit me with your vehicle, think again. I am a U.S. Navy Senior Chief Petty Officer. In the event of a nuclear burst, I will be thrown clear. Be safe and considerate of your neighbors and your neighborhood.
Okay, thank you, Psycho Squid. Okay. So what you're suggesting is if you're going too fast down his street and you see him step out in front of your vehicle, look down.
Look down and see how fast you're going before you hit it. Just don't worry. He'll be thrown clear in the event of a nuclear burst.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Look for that tattoo of an anchor.
So look away if you're traveling. Okay. All right. Take your eyes off the road.
These are the kind. Rosemary's on the Nextdoor app, and she will share things with me regularly. And it's amazing how many of these you get. This is a perfect example. A green truck pulled into my driveway and then backed out shortly after my dogs alerted me that someone was outside. That's it. That's the whole post.
Yikes.
I don't think it was on the app, but I am remembering a buddy of mine living in South Minneapolis. Constantly, his neighbor, an old lady, would yell at him when he was going into his house for going through her garbage. He's like, quit going through. He's like, it's raccoons. We have raccoons everywhere. I'm not going through your garbage.
I thought it was him.
Baloney. Quit going through my garbage. I had a neighbor in St. Paul, Claire, a guy. I think he was just angry about that. But he refused to use his driveway. ever. He cleaned his driveway relentlessly.
Really?
He wouldn't even use it. He parked on the streets. He made everyone park on the street. And if I had a few people over back in the house party days, yes, I would occasionally have a house party.
Sure.
I'd pull up to my place and people would start parking and he'd be out there hustling his snowblower and his lawnmower and the recycled garbage, everything he could to block his driveway so people wouldn't even turn around in it.
Oh,
What in the world?
Yeah,
it was like his Zen garden. He just needed it a certain way.
He wouldn't even use it.
Did he have it was it like with that weird, was it like the blacktop?
Oh,
almost
yes.
shiny
Asphalt?
black?
Oh, yeah. It was nice. It was a nice driveway.
Really?
Yeah. I did not go over there with children's chalk like I often joked I would do when I had a few too many, because the kids had a bucket of that laying in the garage. I'm like, I should go over there and just draw a big wiener on it.
My white dog right now is pink. We have sidewalk chalk that the boys do all the time.
Sure.
The pup rolled in it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Pink pup.
It's an albino dog now.
Very nice. Here's a great. This is a great post, and this is the kind of stuff I go to the Nextdoor app for. Here it is. Someone literally. And by the way, this is again. You're sharing this with all of your neighbors. Just boom.
That are on the app.
Immediately, everybody that sees it is aware that they need to steer clear of you. Here's one. Why do cats hate me? I keep reading all these posts about cats showing up at people's homes unannounced, but they never visit me. Why? Oh, he goes on. I see cats in my neighborhood and I leave out treats, but these beasts ignore me. You may ask why I don't just adopt a feline. Well, I'm allergic. And if I have a cat inside, I develop Lynch's planus, and people think I'm an IV drug user.
What?
And that would disqualify me from having a pet, according to local shelters. As you can see, it's a vicious cycle. So how do I get the neighborhood cats to like me? Dude, that's the least of your concerns.
Yeah, right. Wow. Stay in your house and stay on the internet.
Yeah.
That's the safe place for you.
Maybe the cats are just being polite, giving them some space.
Did you guys hear something? I'm getting a little interference from the subcarrier, I think.
Is that what that is?
That was.
Oh, next door. Here's a good one. We accidentally lost 4 peacocks.
You lost 4 peacocks.
Hate to be that person who loses 4 exotic birds during a pandemic, but it's me.
Yeah.
Okay.
What the pandemic has nothing to do with it.
That's because I'm your neighbor and I shot them while you were at work.
I love this one as well. Squirrels are begging for money. Hello, neighbors. I have an issue with a squirrel that keeps approaching my front door. He just hangs out waiting for me or my grandchildren to go outside, then relentlessly begs us for $5. What the heck does a squirrel need $5 for? And to make matters worse, he's frightening my grandkids because they only have money for their allowance. Does anyone have any tips for getting rid of a poor, destitute tree rat?
Give him $5.
Please, only serious suggestions. I've seen similar squirrel threads on Nextdoor that get laughed at, but I need a real solution. Should I politely ask it to leave? I must stress this squirrel is terrifying my family, and I will not reward this animal's behavior if I don't have to. When the squirrels are speaking to you in a language you understand, you need a nap.
Give it a job.
That was my post, actually.
Is that you? Just put it to work?
Yeah, squirrels, no. Get rid of them. Don't need them.
Squirrels love the salty. You can feed squirrels peanuts one time, and then they'll never forget you. They'll come back and just relentlessly badger you for salty peanuts.
A little poison peanut.
Yeah. Well, no. I guess you could choose that route.
Yeah.
I saw a black squirrel the other day. Hadn't seen one since I got here. I know they're around, but jet black squirrel,
cool,
striking. Yeah, right over there on the campus. Boom, there it was.
Haunting.
Yeah. I'd only seen them in Canada before. I didn't know we had them here.
Wow.
This is a great one. Whoever just yelled at my dog to shut the blank up needs to come to my house and speak to me or my husband directly. Oh my gosh. How about this? A photo of a gallon jug, like a milk jug, that it's next to a gas pump and it has gas in it. And this is a post, free gas. My car exploded, so I don't have any use for gasoline anymore. Free gallon of gas. Come pick it up. I sanitized the handle. Seriously, it's yours if you want it.
All right.
Like a milk jug? You're for real. You're for real that it's a whole milk jug just
full of gas.
What?
That's it.
At least there is gas tanks and gas gallons that can transport it.
No. That'd be way too easy. How about this? A photo of a head of lettuce. Lost lettuce head. Anyone looking for this? I'll help it find its way back home. and then an address listed where a guy sees a head of lettuce on his sidewalk.
That's a trap. That's a serial killer.
A neighbor of mine posted on his front little stoop a picture of a coffee mug, and he said, "Free coffee mug." That was it. Just come get it.
Did it have a saying on it or any design in particular?
Just straight white, like just ceramic mug.
It
said free coffee mug. And then, now, you know what? They had a bit of a yard sale, but this was a few days left. I guess this was his last item, but it was just right there. Boom. Anyone need it? It's still here.
Yeah.
A coffee mug. Yeah.
Again,
to lure you.
Just a lazy serial killer trying to bring them to you.
Man,
your victim, that is.
Let's see. Tim just texted in. I do what I call a Lee Harvey Oswald out of the bathroom or living room window, taking out the squirrels. They do damage to my lawn.
Yeah.
That's a text to the show. That would fit right in on next door. Thank you for that one, Tim. Thank you for that one, Tim.
Air rifles, awfully quiet.
Ever get busy in a car?
Well,
let's just call it what it is.
You mean like getting some work done, laptop, that kind of stuff?
That's one way. That's a good euphemism. Sure. You ever open your laptop in your car? See what I'm doing there?
Uh-huh.
There is a couple that has been getting busy in their car. They'll probably think about that twice next time. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning, Thursday, August the 29th. In about 30 minutes, we're giving away Twins tickets. So you're going to want to be around for that. The Twins are on a bit of a schneid right now, but they gotta bounce back against the Blue Jays this weekend and hit September with a little bit of Uncle Mo on their side. Yeah. Still very much in the wild card race, but dropped 8 of their last 10. That is that's a rough way to finish August. We need to turn this bad boy around. Back in the day when we were all kids, I was going to ask if we ever have. I'm sure we all have. A lot of action in the car. I mean, it's a rite of passage. You get your driver's license, you get out, you go on a date, and then suddenly you're like, hey, that road's kind of dark. Let's go over there and see what happens. And then next thing you know, you're fumbling around. And in my case, in a Datsun 210 that was a manual transmission, kind of hard to get comfortable anywhere.
Yeah.
That big stick right there in the middle. It was always like, okay, we're trying. But we've all been there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was it. It was either that or outside, which sounds nice, but it never really was.
No.
You know, it's dirty.
Bring
and
a blanket.
Bugs.
Got to bring a blanket.
The girls just don't want to. You make your move in the car.
Oh, a good car makeout is the best.
Oh, yeah. And we learned it growing up, too. Every damn television show and movie we watched, the car is where you make your move.
The first time that I was ever in a car doing that and the windows actually did fog up, I was like, that's real. Oh, that actually happens. Wow, go figure. I'm asking because here's a story. This is actually not a local story. This is over. I'm sorry. Is there a porpoise in the studio? There's a dolphin. I always get them confused.
It's vinyl seats.
The Schuylkill River. It runs through Philadelphia area. It's a whole Schuylkill's a part of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
It's a whole thing, you know. Up in just outside of Philly, apparently there was a park, Fairmount Park, and just before dawn, police were called. A couple sitting in a 2020 Range Rover. And they were not just making out; they were getting after it. They were in the throes of full-on copulation. Apparently, somehow shifted the car out of park and into gear, and they, of course, were overlooking the river on a slope, as you do. Get on flat ground when you're going to pull over to get after it.
Really? Well, when the mood strikes, the mood strikes.
I guess it does. They were able to jump out of the car right before it went into the river. They did escape the car before it got into the river. But again,
my pants.
This 2020 Range Rover went in. The police were called. Crews. It took a while. They got the car out. The car was recovered. It's complete. What's the insurance claim? What do you? I mean, literally,
act of lust.
You can't say it was stolen. You can't pretend it was just stolen because you were on the scene. You're the one who called 911 to say my car's in the river.
Yeah.
And it's got my pants. It's like a Paul Lynde dancer on Hollywood Squares. And I left my pants. Just something
there was that awkward moment when the scene finally cleared. The police have left. The first responders have all left. And you're standing there. And the guy's like, So you want to? I mean, we got off to a pretty good start there, but
man, should we?
And she's marching away.
Yeah, I would have to think so.
Not.
That's a tough one. I mean, this is on high school, and this was not like full on going all the way in a car, but making out, necking, doing the business with my girlfriend. And again, the Datsun 210, the go-kart, for lack of a better term. It's such a small vehicle, but we're in there. And my girlfriend, lived on a farm. They raised horses, and they had a German Shepherd who was very much trained as a security precaution. This dog was there to protect the farm and the barn and keep people away from the horses and all that.
Guard dog.
It was not a. It was a pet, sort of, but it was not happy with outsiders. Yeah. That dog, I dated this girl off and on for 3 years. That dog never relaxed around me. It just stared at me from across the room. I was terrified of this animal. And
just the way Dad wanted it.
Its name was Galahad, for God's sakes.
Galahad.
Oh, I like that.
And I remember very clearly just. We put the seats back, leaned them back a little bit, and we're going, and I'm like, hey, this is going, and this is a car without air conditioning. The windows are down, and I look, and right over my girlfriend's shoulder, right out the passenger window, that dog is glaring at me, standing right outside the car, and I was like. I just stopped. She's like, what's the matter? And I'm like, Galahad's right there. Galahad's right there. And she's like, oh, it's fine. He's fine. I'm like, put the window up. I mean, that dog was about to come.
Down? Oh, yeah. No, yeah. You got to get the window
AC.
up.
You had to have the windows down.
Yeah, he's coming in.
Sorry, sir.
And it's not like...
Dad trained him without her knowing. Dad trained him for this moment.
And so I'm literally thinking about reaching across her. But this is a car from the late 70s. There's no automatic window. You got to crank that window. Yeah. And I'm trying not to... I'm doing all this and thinking I don't want to ruin the mood.
Yes.
That's the worst. That damn German Shepherd.
You got blocked by a German Shepherd.
Man, that was pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, it's happened to all of us. A dog, whether it was in the car or in the bedroom or whatever, they do get in the way. And I like the women are always like, oh no, don't worry about it. Really, because he's literally he's doing that growl thing.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
Right in the corner
until you feel a mysterious lick.
Well, I mean,
you don't recognize.
That can be fun, but it's no teeth. That's my rule for everyone in the bed. Well,
here's another one about a little bit of fire in the backseat of a car, although this is literally a fire in the backseat of a car. A children's book. A book ignited a family's minivan. Check this out. And I don't mean like figuratively. It's not like they were reading Tropic of Cancer and, they got all hot and heavy because Henry Miller was such a horny old weirdo.
He was.
No, this is in North Carolina. A car seat caught on fire right after the kid got out of the car. A family pulls into home, they jump out of the car, and within a matter of moments, their car's on fire. They call the police, they call 911. Firefighters put it out. The fire department determined that the fire was started by a, quote, button battery inside a children's book.
Oh, really?
There was a book called JJ's Potty Time. Good old JJ. Getting your potty, JJ.
Yeah.
Who's the big boy? JJ's Potty Time. It's a kind of, it's a book that has a little button and it makes sound effects. I can only imagine the sound effects in JJ's Potty Time. They returned from church and the fire marshal said that little lithium battery somehow something just caused it to spark up and the entire van went up in a matter of minutes.
Damn, no one was in there. Destiny and Presley, mom and dad here.
Just very shocked that could ever happen, but also so blessed that she wasn't in there.
We had multiple push-button books for toddlers and infants. No warning labels. It just tells you how to discard it and to have an adult change the battery.
Now, there you go. Because of you and your book, they'll put a new warning label on them that no one will ever read.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah. But that is alarming. It would piss me off if I came out and my wheels were burned to the ground because of a JJ's Potty Time.
JJ's Potty Time. Just kids, it's okay. It's natural. Just let it go. Wave goodbye. Flush.
They'll
move
figure
on.
It out. They don't need an audio book.
Move on. Speaking of, and then this is my favorite of the day. Oakland, California. The police department is working very closely with the fire department because of an incident that happened this week. There was a traffic accident. Firemen came in. They needed to extricate someone from their car, so they got out the famous Jaws of Life.
Oh, yeah.
You know what that bad boy is? That's just like they go in there, they rip that car open, they pull you out.
Serious equipment.
Very serious equipment. The fire crew used the Jaws of Life, got someone out of their car. and then they're standing on the scene, taking notes, getting their reports together, doing the things they do.
Yeah.
And then it's time to pack up and head back to the fire station. The jaws of life were missing. Someone stole them.
Someone came by and picked up the jaws.
This is a large, heavy hydraulic tool.
Yeah.
That pulls crash victims from vehicles or it rescues people from tight confines. It's not a handheld little device. It's a huge piece of machinery. And somehow on the scene, there's a bunch of cops and a bunch of firemen, and they looked around and they're like, hey, John, let's load up the jaws of life. Well, Captain, that's the thing. I don't see the jaws of life. Who the hell steals the jaws of life?
Is it a one-person carry? I'm thinking of, I'm looking in my mind here, an image of what the jaws of life would look like. Not something you just run by and grab.
That's what I'm saying.
Like a
This is
backpack.
away.
This doesn't seem like a crime of opportunity, generally speaking. I mean, I could be wrong.
Sitting in some kid's dorm room. Hey, guys, check this out. Are those the jaws of life?
Well, they do have, okay, you know what? They do have some new, I'm seeing some updated photos. It is a one-man operation now.
right.
It's like you strap it, looks like you strap it in. It is just very, very strong piece of equipment. But this is not a cheap piece of equipment, I'm sure. I was picturing, the jaws of life used to be like a whole separate vehicle almost. It would come in, it looked like a front loader, like a big arm, and it would just rip a car open. Now, they've got a much smaller ones now, so I guess it's one of those more like a one-man, but you strap it to yourself and then you're manipulating it, and you're ripping, what are you doing? You're pulling someone from the jaws of defeat to victory? Or
put an air tag on it, I guess.
There you go.
And start hitting the local pawn shops. What do you brought for us today? Oh, a couple of watches and whoom, up on the counter, the jaws of life.
Well, if you have the joie de vivre to just walk into that scene and pick that thing up and walk away with it. No, people will. We had a story yesterday about a guy who worked at a car dealership, and as he was closing down for the night, a car thief just walked in and stood there and didn't move, and the guy just assumed he was a salesman because he was. Well, why else would he be here? If you have, you can get away with a lot of things if you just act like you belong. I mean, the same mindset as an adult. There's an age, there's a time in your life when you recognize, like, okay, I might not be able to crash the Vikings game, but I can walk into a college sporting event and just give someone the evil eye, and they'll just get out of my way.
Yeah, I've never stolen anything, but I've walked into events like I belong there. I even snapped at somebody one time. I'm like, knock it off. I'm in a hurry.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Sure.
And just my two buddies just walked right in. Yeah.
You got to remember, 90% of the people working these jobs are just like you. They don't actually care about the job. They're just working the job.
Yeah, they don't want a confrontation.
I don't want to deal with this crap.
Yeah.
My cousin used to go to like state championship football games every year. He would just put on a Clemson sweatshirt and a Clemson hat and carry a clipboard, and they all thought he was a scout. He would just walk into every football game he wanted to go to.
Yeah.
Like he just looks like he's with the coaching staff.
My oldest daughter,
simple.
Taylor, I could buy her tickets, obstructed view, the last seats available at the very tippy top up in the third section up there. And she would always have a video and a few pictures from the second row or the front row.
Always.
Like, I'm going to quit spending money on the good tickets, kiddo, because I knew she was going to work her way down there. She just, she had that still has that bravado.
That's a Gorman family lesson. My brother Jim was the one who would line us up and take us to games and be, all right, now we're gonna spend the first 2-3 innings scouting for good seats, and by the time the third inning, if they're not here, they're probably not coming. And we would always be out in the left field bleachers, and then from the fourth inning on, we're right behind home plate. And his whole thing was, I'm 6, which means he's 15, and he's like, you look that usher right in the eye, nod, and keep walking. I'm like, okay. Don't look guilty. Like, okay, cool, great.
You had the buddy you tried to do it with a couple of times, and that would blink. And you'd get stopped, and you'd be like, I don't know, 5 rows ahead of them going down the stairs to the front row, and you'd look back, and they'd be talking to a security person.
Always one.
They're like, wait, he looked at me, and so I said, what? No, you don't. What?
You just keep
and
going.
You're looking nervous, and you blew it, man.
I got to look back, to be completely honest. There was a life of crime there for me briefly. There were times when things were just never. I was always, if I was annoyed or if there would be a situation, I'd be like, you know what, screw this. this. I've done my part here, and they're not. Well, long story short, I stole a kick drum pedal once. I still feel bad about it. I was at a music store. I was at a store, and the guy was always. It was kind of notoriously a douchebag, and he talked down to you because you're just a dumb drummer in a dumb bad band, and it was just this guy with a big thing. And I went in there and I needed a kick drum pedal, and I was waiting, and I asked him, and he just rolled his eyes. He's just total jerk.
It's karma, man.
And it was just going on and going on and going on, and I am holding the cardboard box with the box with the pedal in it, and it's like a $90 or $100 purchase for me, which was a tremendous amount of money. And I'm standing there and I'm in line, and they're taking forever, and then he's giving the guy in front of me a hard time for not knowing exactly what he wants. And I'm so sick of this place and so sick of this guy who I'd already dealt with a few times. And I had just been in there like a week earlier and I'd bought some drumsticks and stuff, and I realized, I'm like, wait, oh my God, I'm wearing the same jacket. And I reached into the pocket of that jacket, and there was my receipt from a week earlier, the pink receipt.
Yeah.
And I pulled it out, and I just put it in my hand next to that thing. And the guy finally looks at me and goes, "You need anything?" And I held up the box with the receipt. I said, "No, I'm all set." And he just moved on to the next guy. Yeah. And I just walked out, got in the van, and went off to my gig.
Good job.
And was like, "That's what you get." And then, of course, I was like the whole day going, that's terrible. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. I acted like it was cool, and screw him, but boy, it was eating me alive.
Well, then you got a little karma, back. A little went against you, somewhere down the road. You got a little shot to the nuts or something yourself, and it all evens out. It all balances out.
That's very true. That's very true. If that's every time anything goes wrong, I think about that drum pedal. I think that's what it was. It's that damn kick drum pedal. It's still haunting me to this day.
Yeah.
These things, that's how it works. Hey, you know what you can do on Friday from 4 to 6? That's tomorrow. You can go over to Cub Wine and Spirits in Stillwater for the final Liney's stop of the summer. Woody and Leinenkugels. That's a nice match made in heaven. Go see our buddy Woody with the folks from Leinenkugels at Cub Wine and Spirits in Stillwater from 4 to 6 tomorrow. You can win concert tickets, Liney's merch, paddles, sample some of that Leinenkugels beer. That will be a perfectly fine time. The boys of summer are still hard at work. We've got a whole month of baseball left. Let's hope the Twins can turn it around. And speaking of which, hang around for some tickets. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zepp, Tony, and Ryder on Minnesota's classic rock. 92 KQRS.
I wrote a book a few years ago. It's called Hard to Handle, The Life and Death of the Black Crowes. And I was given an assist from my good buddy Stephen Hayden, a great music writer who lives here in the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
And his new book is called There Was Nothing You Could Do. And it's all about Born in the USA, the album, and the societal and cultural impact at the time, and Springsteen since, and what it says about our world now. And that sounds really heady and nerdy and boring, but it's an astonishingly great read. Just going to throw that out there.
What's the name of it?
Right.
There Was Nothing You Could Do.
Nothing You Could Do. Okay.
It's about Born in the USA and a whole lot of other things. It's a fantastic read. If you're looking for a little, this weekend I'm gonna sit back, kick back in the rocking chair and read a book. That's a real good one.
Cool.
Yeah,
there's that. Throw that out there.
Of course, there's that biopic. I was just reading around. I'm clicking around looking for the book.
The kid from the Bear.
Yeah, the kid from the Bear, and I forget his name as well. But he was talking about preparing for the role and working with Springsteen. It was based on the book Nevermind. I'm sorry I brought it up. I really thought I was going to find that sucker.
That's all right.
There's so much crap on the internet that I bookmarked.
The biopic about Bruce Springsteen. Here it comes. When finally everyone's going to say, I was never a Springsteen fan, but I loved his Broadway show because he walks out there and goes, yeah, that whole Jersey Shore thing, the romance, and I made all that up.
Well,
it kind of sucked when I was a kid.
Jeremy Allen White is the...
Jeremy Allen White, that's his name.
Well, it sounded made up. I mean, with...
Yeah.
Deep Knee Willie and Blackjack Silly, and it sounded made up. That's what we liked about it. It was a small town, a farm kid out in the middle of nowhere, South Dakota, growing up. That's all I wanted to do was daydream. Mellencamp sang about what it was. Springsteen sang about getting the hell out of there.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, no, he's a man on the go. Got to get out. Got to get out while we're young.
Daydreaming.
Hey, you know what we got? We got the Toronto Blue Jays coming to town, and I'm looking at a couple of Blue Jays Twins tickets tomorrow night, Friday night at Target Field. How about this? How about we give away these tickets? We need 2 callers to play a game. Callers 9 and 2 at 651-989-ROCK. Right now, 651-989-ROCK. Call in. You're going to play a game and hopefully win a couple of Twins tickets. That'll be fun. And in the meantime, let's talk about Delano.
Hey, the American Legion. Someone's enjoying breakfast there right now. I've been out there for years, breakfast, because I work mornings.
Yeah.
And they have a big rib fest that comes up.
The American Legion breakfast in Delano is worth the trip, is what you're telling me.
Every time. And
Really?
when I say breakfast, I mean Bloody Mary.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a fine breakfast. Yeah,
No, I got you.
And a big rib fest. One of the finest 4th of July celebrations I've ever been to as well.
Well, right on. Rock on, Delano. Glad to have you with us on a Thursday night here in Thursday morning, I should say, but Thursday night tonight. Just for anyone not paying much attention to the Rock, Motley Crue at the State Fair tonight.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be loud and raucous and happening. And the Crue. I mean, I think about my whole Motley Crue story goes back to 1983. I had a roommate who loved the Crue, and I was into at that time what you would have called indie rock.
Sure, like college bands.
Every band I loved was playing clubs, and my roommate was obsessed with Motley Crue. And if you had told either of us that in the year 2024, which sounded like Star Wars, far,
Buck
that is
Rogers.
so far away. Yeah, Motley Crue. By the way, they'll still be playing big gigs. It would have been like, that's ridiculous. No one does it that long. I mean, the Rolling Stones, when I was in high school, that was the longest. I can't believe they're still doing this, and that was 20 years.
Yeah.
20 was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
20 years. I think when the Beatles broke up, it just put in everyone's head like, yeah, you get about 8 or 9 years. That was just it. And then Zeppelin only had 12.
Yeah, that's right.
So when the Stones were hitting 20, it was like, come on, what are you doing, guys? Quit kidding yourselves.
Got to be petering out here a little bit. I mean, it was late 80s when we started seeing the Stones, thinking, well, they're not going to last much longer. You've got to go to this tour. It's going to be the last one for sure.
Always.
And I think there was a tour in 88.
89, Steel Wheels.
Steel Wheels. That was it.
That was my first
right
tour.
here in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
That was the first time I saw the Stones, and you had to get out and see that tour because when else? This could be the last one for the Stones.
Because they had taken most of the 80s off. So it was like they're back after 7 years. I knew that now or never, man. Yeah. Now or in 2024.
Target Center.
1989. Wheels. You better see them now or anytime over the next 40 years. They're going to play forever. All right, we got a couple people ready to rock. Tony, what is today's game?
Let's play this, Steve-O. Every creative project goes through changes, like these game shows included. Some are dumb and suck, and some are even dumber and suck more. So let's keep that rolling. Today's Rejected focuses on movie titles. I'm going to give you a movie title, then you pick which one was the original working title until it was rejected. Let's play.
Oh, this is fantastic. All right. We got 2 callers ready to roll. Who is contestant number 1?
First up is the lovely Stephanie from Shakopee.
Stephanie, good morning.
Good morning.
Favorite band all time, who is it?
I wouldn't really say all time, but I really like Styx, Mr. Roboto.
That works. Favorite team, any sport?
I was born in Green Bay, and I'm a very loyal person, so I have to be a Packer fan.
Yeah,
required.
Yeah, you had no choice.
Yeah. We fully understand that. They might as well have just tattooed it on your head at birth. We get it. Stephanie, we're ready to play a game, and we wish you the best of luck. Go get them. Let's do it, Tony.
All right, Steph, you're going to have multiple choice here. Your first question, the movie is Field of Dreams. Was it originally titled A, Having a Catch in the Corn, B, Lunatic Iowa Farmer, or C, Shoeless Joe?
C.
That is right.
I heard it just burned down, right?
What's that?
Field of Dreams just burned down.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I'll have to double check the story. I might have just dreamt it, but
say it ain't so.
I thought somebody just finally went, hey, no one's coming out to this thing anymore. We need some insurance money. Burn it.
Could have been. I prefer Lunatic Iowa Farmer myself.
Yes, I know. I like that. Number 2 is Halloween. Was it A, My Brother the Slasher, B, The Babysitter Murders, or C, I Heart Michael Myers?
B.
Correct. It was. The Babysitter Murders was the original working title.
Really? Wow. All right. Steph, you're rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just apparently I pulled that right out of my butt.
Yeah, that was a dream you had.
That was a dream.
Field of Dreams is still there, folks. It's all going to be okay.
Put it back up your butt.
Right along with that chunk of hot dog that poor little girl choked on. Right up your keister with that hot dog.
Steph, number 3 is Pretty Woman. Original title was it A, $3,000, B, Gorman's Girlfriend, or C, Hooker with a Heart?
Oh, gosh.
Steph.
Come on,
I'm
Steph.
going to say A.
Good job.
You are correct.
$3,000. Yeah, that was the hooker's negotiated price.
I think they made the right choice going with Pretty Woman on that one.
Yeah, I think so. Number 4 is Cars. Original title was it A, Freeway Fun Frenzy, B, Route 66, or C, Hunky?
Can you tell me the first one again?
Freeway Fun Frenzy.
I'm going to say B.
Tony?
You are correct.
Gee, the master of drama over there.
I know. I wanted
Wow.
to make it a little tense.
Man, that
The
was very
knuckles were
tense.
turning white
I
here.
like honky myself.
I was really hoping it was going to be honky.
Honk, honk.
You're 4 for 4, Steph.
Nice, Steph. You have one more to go. The last one is Stand By Me. Original title was it A, The Body, B, After School, or C, Kids with No Supervision?
A.
Nice. Adapted from a short story by Stephen King called The Body. Nice job.
Stephanie just coming in strong, 5 for 5. It's not often you get to say you could have done no better. Well played,
Yeah.
Steph.
Ran the table.
Those Twins tickets, they're leaning in your direction. I got to tell you, that's as good as it gets.
While we're on the topic of baseball and proving that often I am just a little bit right, historic California baseball field from a league of their own 5 days ago burns down in massive fire. That was it.
League of Their
It was
Own.
one of those TV, baseball.
One of those movies.
Moving along.
The one with Madonna,
Yes, Madonna and Gina.
not Field of Dreams.
the
Yes,
movie.
right.
That was
The movie
Field of,
later on made a TV series.
Field of Nightmares. Stephanie went 5 for 5. Who was contestant number 2, Tony?
Number 2 was Barb from Roseville. Hi, Barb.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Barb. Have you got a favorite band for us?
Oh, yeah, the Stones, definitely.
I like that. No hesitation. All right, favorite team, any sport.
Oh, Twins, Minnesota Twins.
There you go. Well, these Twins tickets are sitting right here. Tomorrow night, they got the Blue Jays at Target Field. Best of luck to you, Barb.
Thanks.
Go, Barb, go. Okay, your first one is the movie Fatal Attraction. Was it originally titled A, A Girl to Die For, B, High Maintenance, or C, Affairs of the Heart?
Ooh, probably Affairs of the Heart.
That is correct.
The working title was A Zepp's Dating Life from 1994 to 2016.
High Maintenance.
Barb is not going to be ignored, Tony.
Could have
Well
been,
played.
might have been Boiled Bunny. That would have been a good one.
I will just quick interjection. Seeing that movie in the theater when it was released, me and 2 friends, Mac and Andrew, and the 3 of us, when it ended, we just sat there like more traumatized than after I'd seen Platoon.
I actually saw it on a second date.
Oh.
And as we're driving away from it, she said, well, I mean, she did have she got carried away, yes. But, I'm like, oh, dear
okay,
God, the
here we
hair on
go.
the back of my neck.
Don't get any ideas.
All right. Barb, 1 for 1. Good start.
Barb, number 2 is Some Like It Hot. Was the original title A, Estro Generator, B, Not Tonight, Josephine, or C, Does This Dress Make Me Look Fat?
Ooh, Some Like It Hot. Is that was? Can you say them again?
Estro Generator, Not Tonight, Josephine, or Does This Dress Make Me Look Fat?
Oh boy, I would have to go with B.
You are correct.
Yes.
Is that a real world estro generator? I love it.
I don't know if it's real.
Man.
I liked it, though.
It's a band name.
Cross-dressing Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis.
Turning up the heat for the second round here.
Right
Tony.
on.
Jeez.
Number 3, Back to the Future 2. Was it originally called A, Paradox, B, I'm Way Ahead of You, or C, Even More McFly?
Ooh, probably B, I would guess.
Oop! Gosh darn it. It was A, Paradox.
Paradox.
Not that good a title.
No.
It was about those two houses on the lake, and they both had a dock right next to each other.
Paradox. Yeah.
Dang. All right, Barb, we got to play out the side, though.
Let's do the last two, Barb. See how you do. Number 4, it was Annie Hall. Was it A, neurotic schmerotic, B, anhedonia, or C, some of my best friends are Jewish?
Boy, I have no idea. How about B?
How about it? That is correct. Anhedonia is the inability to experience joy or pleasure. It's not pleasant.
Holy smokes.
How do you spell that?
Anhedonia, Anhedonia.
Huh?
I went on a date with a girl named Ann, and that applies.
Last name Hedonia.
Stiff night, boy.
Stiff.
Your last one is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Was it originally titled A, Yeehaw, B, a slap in the leather face, or C, head cheese?
Did you say head cheese?
I said it.
Ooh, cheese. Boy, I don't know. Let's go with C.
That is correct. Yes, head cheese.
I read that once, and then there was a shot in someone's basement backyard head cheese that came out as an indie movie on VHS. You had to wait for it. They had one copy. Everybody wanted to watch head cheese, and it was
of course,
their version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it was really, really, really bad.
I'm sure it was. Barb, 4 for 5. Most days, 4 out of 5 days, that's going to be a winner, but not today. I'm sorry to say, but we appreciate you calling in and playing. Stephanie, you, Mrs. Roboto, have won your tickets to see the Twins hosting the Blue Jays tomorrow night. Very well played. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You got it. I think that's our first Styx favorite band person so far. A lot of Twins, a lot of Packers. First time for someone saying that Styx is their favorite band.
The Styx.
First time, Styx and Mr. Roboto of the Styx. Even amongst Styx fans, a lot of them will turn their backs on Damo Arigato.
And they have started playing it recently after many. I mean, once Dennis DeYoung left the band, they stopped playing it. And then last year, I believe Styx said, you know what? Let's just throw it in there. And I think they did that literally just to turn the knife in DeYoung's back a little bit more.
Oh, man, come on. I'm on just a Zepp roll this morning. Delano American Legion no longer open for breakfast. My buddy just texted me. Lunch, though. They open at 11 a.m. All right, thanks, man. Never too late in the day to have a Bloody Mary.
Never too late in the day to have a Bloody Mary.
Got it.
Speaking of, you know what, though? It's not all bad for you, Zepp, because tomorrow,
help me. Yes.
I'm going to invite everybody to join our good friend Brian Zepp for the Leonard Skinner and ZZ Top pre-party tomorrow from 4 to 6, that's p.m., at Treasure Island Parlay Lounge. You'll have a chance to win tickets to the show or even a chance to get your tickets upgraded courtesy of Treasure Island Resort and Casino. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, we're going to be giving away some of those VIP tent passes as well, which is always a good time. You get in there, there's free food and drinks and things to do. And it's going to be a good time. Fantastic weather. Hope to see you in the Parlay Lounge 4 to 6 tomorrow evening at Treasure Island.
My favorite ZZ Top thing ever is still, it will forever be the fact that they went on tour in the 70s and they had an actual Texas Longhorn on stage.
Just take it out.
They had cattle on stage. They had a rattlesnake on stage. They had a guy they had animals on their stage.
They had an armadillo too. I'm pretty sure.
Just bringing Texas to the whole world. That's just, and they didn't even have the beards yet. They were just like, whatever, we'll figure it all out. That to me is always pretty funny. If you're trying to figure out what to eat today, I'm a big fan of breakfast sausage. I'll just call it like it is.
Oh, man.
Bacon's nice, and I love a BLT, but on the morning next to the eggs, I don't normally go with bacon. I prefer a sausage, patty or link. Either one, I'm good with.
Either one, patty first, but breakfast sausage, and it doesn't have to be for breakfast. I like a good breakfast in the evening, but if I have breakfast sausage, it's probably my preference.
Breakfast for dinner, a staple. As a kid growing up, loved that, and still love it to this day. Dinner for breakfast, not quite the same, but but if there's sausage on there, I'm excited. I'm reading a list of things. Cardiologists. By the way, if they're a greater killjoy than your neighborhood local cardiologist, oh, thanks for worried about my heart health, dude.
Yeah, you don't want to eat in front of them.
Yeah, really.
I think we want to live forever. It's quality, not quantity, man.
Cardiologists have got a list of things they say. You know, we're not going to tell you never to eat them, but literally back off. This is on according to cardiologists, they themselves, this is a list of things they rarely, if ever, eat and recommend that we do the same. And I'm just saying at the top, screw yourselves. Because, listen, it's just what it is. Number one on the list, chopped liver. Okay, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
I don't eat chopped liver.
That's a good lead-in.
Yeah.
I like it. Now you've got my attention.
I don't think I ever had liver growing up. My mom didn't like liver, so liver and onions, I would hear about people having that. Never had a clue.
They ate it all, so yeah, that one came around not often. No one was excited about it. Dad didn't want liver and lima beans, thank God.
Right. I did have chopped liver later in life and enjoyed it, but it's way too late to turn it into a staple, a normal thing. Tony, chopped liver?
Oh, love the chopped liver.
Yeah,
Auntie Goldie made fine chopped liver.
I was going to ask. There's got to
Sits
be
on a Ritz, real nice.
Yeah, there had to be someone in the family. The first time I got a hold of some real chopped liver, I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous.
Chopped liver.
Snack, yeah, might be a better option.
Second on that list, my beloved breakfast sausages. I mean, just come on, man.
Yeah, I don't. Whatever. Thank you. You know. You gotta want to live life, man.
Interestingly, butter is not on this list, but margarine is. No margarine, they say.
No, it's all chemicals.
I guess that's what it is. I must be. Steak, generally speaking, way less steak than in my younger days. I just don't
process it as well.
but that doesn't mean I don't love it and wish that it was. I wish it was different. I wish I had the digestive tract of a much younger Steve Gorman.
Beef stroganoff, beef bourguignon, beef stew, beef brisket, beef Wellington, beef jerky.
That sounds great.
It's like foreplay.
Yeah, no kidding. Then of course bacon. We all know that's going to be on the list.
Yeah.
Fried chicken. Bite your tongue.
You know, sure. What do you want us to eat? Rice cakes and kale?
I guess so, man. And by the way, I like all of us. There's been a time in my life when I'm like, hey, the rice cakes. And what I really miss is the crunch of a potato chip. So if I replace it with a rice cake, 2 bites of a rice cake, and I am going to the store to buy potato chips. It's like, no, all it does is it awakens the crunch giant within me. Yeah, that's never going to work. Donuts. Don't have a sweet tooth, so that's not too tough for me. However, once every 4 or 5 months, we'll walk out of the studio here and there's just a box of donuts out there. And because it happens so rarely, I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to have a donut. And here's what happens. And then I have 2. And then I really don't feel good.
Right. And then we have to take the box away and hide it.
Yeah. I don't have the whole, I have a sweet tooth, so I'm going to eat something sweet every day. But on the rare occasions that I do, my God, I just overdo it. It kills me.
Mm-hmm. That's why we work, man, because somebody might bring in some donuts. If there's no chance we could ever have donuts, we're like, you can't have donuts anymore. Your cardiologist said there will be no donuts. They're banned at this workforce, this job site. I mean, I think people not showing up to work would go up by 100%.
Finally on the list, bologna. Or if you prefer, bologna. Bologna.
How do you spell that? B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
B-O-L-O-G-N-A. The fried bologna sandwich is something I used to make fun of until I had one. And in fact, I'm not even opposed to putting a slice of bologna in the microwave and just zapping it and putting that between 2 hunks of white bread.
The fried bologna grilled cheese was a staple growing up.
Man.
Absolutely. I didn't like cold bologna, but you fry up some bologna and I'm all the way to go. And we're not going to sit here and do a story that contains breakfast sausage without listening to the Jimmy Dean sausage customer complaint call.
I don't know where you people come from. I don't know if you test your products. Your products are very delicious. Love your sausage for 30-something years, but I can't take and feed a family of 5 on a little 12-ounce roll of sausage. I don't mind paying you more money for your 16-ounce roll of sausage, but you don't have it anymore. You've got a 12-ounce roll. And you got 3 men that weigh over 200 pounds apiece, a woman that's a little plump, and a daughter who's 13, and you're going to try to take a 12-ounce roll of sausage and a couple of dozen eggs and feed that, it ain't going to work. And I'm not going to purchase your product anymore or ever again. And as far as your 16-ounce and maple and sage, I don't eat that. I'm not from the north. I'm a Texas man. Jimmy Dean sausage is for southern people to eat with their breakfast, with their fried eggs and their T-bone steaks. And I'm not going to buy 2 of those 12-ounce packages just because you want to downsize and charge the same price. Goodbye.
I'm not a Southern man, but I want a couple of dozen eggs, some T-bone steaks, my Jimmy Dean sausage. What else was in there? I mean, he wasn't talking about a busload of people. He wasn't opening up the American Legion that morning. This was for one family. There's more, by the way. I don't often play the second part, but I want to hear
That
it.
little 12-ounce damn roll of sausage is supposed to feed your brother and me and you 600 pounds of men, at least. You get my point? And the 2 girls, and they put it in that roll of sausage. Son of a bitch. Somebody needs their ass kicked. Some little consumer geekaroid thought this up. Save money. Save money. Yeah, save money. Save money. I'm going to eat, damn it.
And that's Hank Hill in real life.
I tell you what, the only thing missing from that is the sun.
Oh, you do that,
man. There's
600 pounds of men.
I've had so many conversations in my life with Southern men who just, and man, I tell you, he gave me that change. It was 47 cents, and it was burning a hole in my pocket. Them quarters. He said that he's on his way over there. I love the S's coming out of those guys. You ever get on a plane and someone's got food on there that stinks?
Oh yeah. Somebody brought on it was a sub or whatever, but it was a cooked sub. They brought it. It was in the aluminum foil package, and they unrolled it, and it just filled the entire cabin. I was like, that was pungent, and not particularly good.
I had a sub sandwich too. It wasn't cooked. It was. I mean, I didn't have it. I had an experience where someone else did. It was they'd gone to a Blimpie in the airport.
Yeah,
and they opened the thing up, and the onions on that Blimpie were. It was incredible.
Garlic on there, maybe too.
Man, just the smell of those onions. Everybody, and it was of course like a commuter plane, so right away everyone could smell it.
Yeah.
And people were like, yo, and guys just sitting there eating his Blimpie.
If it's a long enough flight, you get her on the back end too.
No, that's very true. Well, this is a new one for me. A woman recently posted a video of herself. She's a vlogger with her TikTok videos. She was on a flight across the Atlantic Ocean from somewhere in the United States to Spain. And she posted a video of herself making bread dough on the plane. Literally, the video begins with the words, making sourdough bread on my flight to Spain. I want to surprise my sister with a fresh loaf of bread. Check this out. In this video, she pulls out all of the stuff, adds water, starter, flour, and salt to a large bowl, mixes it to make a dough, kneads it, applies pressure, covers the bowl, and allows it to rest, all in her seat on the plane.
Through security, maybe she was just trying to cover up a yeast infection. It was particularly odorous.
Could have been that. Stretches and folds it carefully. Then she says she goes to sleep while the fermentation stage of the process is undergoing. It's insane. And then gets off and then bakes it once she gets to Spain. And just doesn't have she didn't bring an easy bake oven with her or anything. She actually but walked off the plane. And how did you get this through security? Right. You walked through security on the other end with a bowl of fresh dough,
and
they allowed that to happen? That's insane to me.
No wonder they're squirting water at us when we go over to Spain now.
Does it not look like C4 in that bowl? I'm just curious. But then people, of course, the comments were like, first of all, that's hardly a clean area for preparing food,
right?
And then secondly, there's apparently a lot of people who are allergic to different types of flour. And what if somebody had been sick inhaling that flour on the plane? That you lost me.
You're reaching.
Not heard of that.
Yeah. Putting together bread on a plane, I'm going to have a problem with that. I let a lot go on planes because I just sort of go into I just shut down on a plane. I just try to ignore everything around me.
Yep.
I'm not ignoring someone next to me making bread. I mean, it's bad enough if you're going to knit some booties for your granddaughter, but don't bring the bread making kit with me.
You might get a sneeze. I might sneeze right in your lap.
Right in your lap. That's exactly what might happen. The top 5 at 9 coming up. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zep, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
It is 9 a.m., and that means it is time right now. Let's not waste another moment. It's time for the top 5 at 9. Number 5 on your top 5 at 9. The Twins dropped another one. That's a sweep from the Atlanta Braves. This is the 8th consecutive National League team to win a series from the Twins. Interleague play the last 2 months, the Twins went 6-17. Thank God the Blue Jays come to town tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope it's just that. Let's hope it's just not the bats and some of the lousy pitching that we've been seeing out of some pretty good pitchers. Yeah, the bullpen. Oof. All right, well, that's all right. You can have your failure here in August. That's acceptable. You're not out of it by a long shot, and you've got September. Win games.
8 out of 10 dropped right now, the Twins. They're 3.5 games behind Cleveland in the AL Central, and I think that's a good place to be considering they've dropped 8 of 10. Number 4 on your top 5 at 9. The Farmer's Almanac said we're going to have a wet, wild winter. The old Farmer's Almanac.
Yeah.
Says, not a chance. Looking at a mild and drier winter. Now, the old Farmer's Almanac says that ever since 1792, they are 80% accurate.
Yes, they are 50% accurate, almost exactly. 50.8% accurate, the old Farmer's Almanac, when it comes to Midwest forecast. I really geek out on the weather. They are 50% accurate, which is oddly enough about the same as the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's winter forecast for the Midwest. They come in at about 50-50 on these anything more than 7 days out. Take a dart and just throw it at the board and see where it lands for the most part. But yes, here's a guy that hates winter.
I don't like it.
Here. Here's a guy that hates where he lives half of the year.
Yeah, that's exactly
half of the year.
right.
He just hates it.
I like it hot. I love the summer.
Explains a lot.
He likes it hot in Minnesota.
Yes, I do.
But National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is saying much higher than expected precipitation this winter, which I'm also calling for, and average cold temps.
The old Farmer's Almanac, or as I call it, ye old Farmer's Almanac, says this winter will resemble last winter, when only 29 inches of snow was recorded in Minneapolis anyway. That's over half the modern average. Average the last 44 years, looking at 54.4 inches. That would work for me because unlike Tony Lee, I'm still in a winter honeymoon. I had one winter. I got here and just got snowed on like crazy for 3 straight months. And then my second winter in town, as I said, only 29 inches total. I'm ready to go back. I want old school Minnesota winter.
Get yourself some choppers.
I want to regret these words. I want you guys to be looking at me next May going, see how miserable it was? You dumb son of a... That's what I'm
Steve got his choppers last year at Cragen's.
I got choppers. They're damn straight. I'll be taking them back with me to Cragen's this year.
We'll get what we get, and the long-term forecasts are really just a bunch of guessing and wishful thinking maybe, but we shall find out.
Number 3 on your top 5 at 9. No surprise. Guess what? Deep fried ranch is a hit over at the Minnesota State Fair. They are Lulu's Public House. The line is hundreds of people deep every day, all day. I was at the fair day before yesterday, and I had forgotten that's where you got the deep fried ranch, because when I saw Lulu's, I was like, what is going on there? Why is everyone waiting so long just to get a beer? But, of course, they were looking for the deep fried ranch.
Rick, I saw on the KQ Facebook page, said he got them, tried one, and went back and got in line.
Oh, boy.
And ate them in line. One? Yeah, after one. Got back in line and finished them to get some more.
Blake Shelton. Blake Shelton on stage Sunday night gave a shout out, said, I loved it. I ate it and it's awesome.
I bet he didn't have to stand in line.
I doubt he stood in line at all. I've played the grandstand years ago with the Black Crows, and I had a deep fried candy bar, which I did not wait for.
That was huge years ago.
And I was like, I think it was a Snickers bar. And I was like, sure. I just remember going like, I can't believe I'm eating this, and I ate every damn bite. Like, oh, man, that is something. Number 2 on your top 5 at 9. Yikes, West Nile virus in Minnesota. It is. There are positive cases in 33 states, and now, of course, Minnesota. None in the Twin Cities metro area just yet. St. Louis County, Yellow Medicine County, Nicollet County all have reported West Nile virus. Only 300 human infections across those 33 states, but West Nile, it can hurt you. It can put you down for a while. As you said, your dad got West Nile virus.
Oh yeah, Pops got it. I forget how many years ago, but snuck up on him as a cold and turned into meningitis in the brain. Untreated.
That's not good.
Been bit by a skeeter and you have a fever, get into the doc.
Don't concern myself with mosquitoes too often because my wife is every mosquito's favorite. If I'm with her, remember the old commercial for Off when they'd put the hand in the mosquito tank that had been sprayed? That's me. And Rosemary's the hand without the Off on it. I can go anywhere. I can walk right into a bog or a fen or whatever you want to call it. I can go right into a swamp if I'm with my wife, and I'll get bit once and she'll get bit 1,000 times. It's hilarious.
You remember that Deep Woods Off guy in the red flannel, the big Grizzly Adams looking guy in those commercials? Our own Babe Winkleman right here in Minnesota.
Oh, really?
That was Babe Winkleman?
Yeah, Babe Winkleman was the Deep Woods Off guy.
Wow. Winkleman coming in.
Yeah.
Didn't expect to see that name on the show today.
He was a fishing magician.
Sure.
He was. Hey, time for a quick morning shout out to Northeast, my people.
Yeah.
I go back and forth. People are, you're not technically Northeast. You're a couple blocks. I'm a Northeaster.
You are.
90% of the people that live in Northeast aren't technically Northeasters. They're passing through, or they moved in, or it's not like the old neighborhoods. I don't think where the old Polish neighborhoods where they were born there, raised there, died there, kind of thing. I mean, they still exist up there as well, but a lot of folks, the youngsters, loving to move into Northeast for the last 30 years.
Appreciate you calling me a youngster.
That's you.
Yeah, man, that's me. Damn straight it is. Number 1 on your top 5 at 9, The Crew. Tonight at the Grandstand, Motley Crue. Man, oh man, they are going to be letting her rip. I don't believe Tommy Lee will go upside down or ride a drum kit / roller coaster, but he'll still play a great show. He's a hell of a drummer. I mean, people are like, well, of course he's Tommy Lee. No, I'm saying like in drummer world, people are like, no, he's legit. He's badass.
Yeah. I mean, he can lay it down. He can play it. He walks the walk and talks the talk. He'll have his bottle of Yag with him. I say F, you say Crew.
That's how it goes.
It's going down.
1991 on the Monsters of Rock tour in Europe, Motley Crue. So the Black Crowes were the opening band on that show. So we're playing every weekend at these stadiums or big like Donington, Castle Donington, famous concert place in England. It's the gig is the Black Crowes would come out and play, and then Queensryche, and then Motley Crue, and then Metallica, and then AC/DC. So it was just kind of an insane bill looking back. But Motley Crue wasn't on all the tour, but the dates where they did appear couldn't have been nicer guys. Totally cool, gracious. They treated us great. I was on the side of the stage at the first show, Castle Donington, August of 91, and I should say we're playing at like 3 in the afternoon. You're the first band at a giant metal festival, and we're not a metal band, so it was a little bit weird. But I heard this yell. I'm playing a song, and I hear this, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, where's that coming from? And I look, and it's Tommy Lee, and he's squatting down right next to me. Like, nobody in the crowd can see him, but he's sitting right to my left, like squatting down right on the stage. And he's just, like, cheering me on. And I'm like, and I'm playing, and I'm like, that's Tommy Lee from Motley Crue. Yeah. And he's yelling at me, and he's like, man, you groove, dude. And he's giving me high fives in between songs. And my drum tech's like, what do I do? I'm like, just leave him here. He's Tommy Lee. I'm not going to kick him off the stage. And he was just being great. He was so cool. He's like, dude, I love how you play, man. Keep it up. And then he goes back over to the side of the stage, and I look over, and he's pumping his fist. And I'm like, what a nice guy. He's just, we're the brand new band. We've never done gigs this big before. And he's like, yeah, way to go. And I'm thinking, what a cool guy, Tommy Lee. And then I watch Motley Crue, and I stand on the side of the stage and go, that guy's killing it. What an awesome drummer. And that's nice. And then Metallica starts. And I'm on the side of the stage for Metallica, and Tommy is standing there next to me, and we've chatted a little bit now and gotten to know each other. And he looks at me and goes, what you doing? What you doing? I go, what? He goes, Lars, man. What's the matter with him? And Lars he's not so concerned with where the one is. He's just out there being Lars. And Tommy runs up and does the same thing to Lars that he did to me. He runs up onto their stage. Now they're huge. This is the Black Album tour. They're huge. He's squatting down right next to Lars like he did to me. And he's screaming at him, you're messing up my groove, man. He goes, get your head out of your ass. Play better. He's yelling that
He's
at Lars.
criticizing him. That's hilarious.
Screaming at him. And he's dead serious, angry that Lars is not playing better. And Lars looks at him and looks at his tech like, get him out of here. And Motley Crue's like, Metallica has like bodyguards.
Yeah.
And they go and they have to get Tommy Lee off the stage.
That's hilarious.
It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. And then he comes back over to me and he's like, man, I wish I was playing with them or you. Hell, any drug guy, he pisses me off. He just had some big beef with Lars. I never got to the bottom of it.
That's a great story.
I've known many people over the years, including several from this radio station, that have had run-ins with Tommy Lee, and they've all been positive. I've never heard anyone say a bad thing about the cat.
Our bassist, Johnny, used to run with him a little bit in the 90s, and he was always just like, because you get this reputation, and you think Tommy Lee must be just a complete knucklehead. He's out of his mind. And same thing. Like, Johnny's like, man, he's salt of the earth, dude. Best guy ever. Just having a good, hey, look at him. He's Tommy Lee. Who wouldn't be living a large life, walking around doing that sort of thing? Lenny Kravitz has been living a large life for about 35 years, and he's going to be in Vegas soon. The Blue Electric Light Las Vegas, taking over Dolby Live at Park MGM this October. You could be on your way to see him in concert. You could score a trip for two. That includes round-trip air, a 2-night stay at Park MGM, and 2 premium tickets to see Lenny Kravitz in Las Vegas. Text the national keyword VOICE right now to 95819 to enter for a chance to win.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
It's back to school, back on the bus, making new friends, going to class. Homework, difficult assignments, bullies, who to sit with at lunch, pressure to wear the right clothes, awkward growth spurts, raging acne, competition to get into the right college, student loans, crushing debt for years, career disillusionment, regret, depression, loss of hopes and dreams, dying alone in a small room undiscovered for weeks. But for now, we've got the supplies. Everything for back to school, including gel pens, 6-pack only $149. Now at all Walmart stores.
Awkward.
This is the KQ Morning Show, and Tony Lee is absolutely out of his mind.
But say that to my face. Oh, you did.
Yeah, I just did. That's hitting the nail on the head right there, huh?
I don't know if you get away with being a stay-at-home parent anymore. I believe probably most families are 2-income families these days.
Yeah.
But for those folks that still do, man, they're going to be margaritaing up, and they'll get the blender going at about, 9 a.m., 10 a.m.?
Hell yeah.
For a little day drinking. Yeah, streaming the good stuff, not those kids shows.
Those growth spurts and that acne and all those weird smells your body produces all of a sudden, there's nothing quite like going back to school in August.
All I remembered was, so we'd have the two-a-days. So about 2 weeks before school started, you started football. You had your two-a-days.
Yeah.
And, of course, the chin strap. You never washed that thing. You didn't, nothing like that. And you would have like 5 huge zits on your chin going into school. And
status.
There were all the girls. They were 1 year older now and 1 year prettier. And you were 1 year more interested in them with just a chin full of zits.
We had the two-a-days, but it was soccer in August because my school didn't play football. There was nowhere near enough of us to field a football team, but we could play soccer.
Yeah.
And we had a coach for a few years who turned out to be the greatest coach I ever had by far. And we thought he was crazy at first because he took a lot of the tips from the John Wooden school. John Wooden, UCLA basketball coach back in the day, would famously go through a whole thing where he would teach the players how to properly put on their socks to avoid blistering and how to lace their shoes the right way. And the players were like, what? And he would spend a lot of time on it. But the whole point was really attention to detail. It just sets your mind for that. Our soccer coach the first year, we all had cleats. He says you need to wash and shine your cleats before every practice.
Wow.
2-a-days.
Yeah.
Not every day, but twice. So we would get home from, practice at 10:30 a.m. And then we'd be doing our, getting to brush out my dad's shoe wash, because he used to shine his own shoes. And suddenly we're doing our cleats and then you got to get them wet because you got to wash all the mud off or the dirt or whatever. And then you're cranking newspaper into them to help soak up the dryness and to help dry them. And we were doing this for weeks, twice a day, and it was nuts. But along the way, suddenly it turns turns into everything the guy said we really did listen to. There's something about that baiting a hook with a worm that doesn't look attractive at first, and then by like November, we're like, Coach, do you want me to light myself on fire? I will. I'll do anything you want. Coach, when do you say? How about if I jump off the building now, Coach? Maybe I'll bounce. Maybe I don't care. Just tell me what you want me to do. We were willing to do anything for this guy by the time that first season ended. It was extraordinary.
Yeah, that is so effective, that tactic, that's what they do in the military. You know, you go out and get all mussed up, get those boots all nasty during the day, and you're like, why do I have to sit here and polish
We're just
going to
get them filthy again tomorrow.
And you had to polish them, man.
Yeah.
They didn't come out with a scuff on or anything like that to do it all over again. And then, that's just all part of that making you a finer person.
It does the job. And then the only downside to this particular coach is he loved the Dutch national team. He loved the way they played soccer. And so everybody that played for him was a fan of the Dutch national team. And to this day, when the World Cup's going on, I'm like cheering for the Netherlands. And I just don't want to, but I can't help it. It's like I'm just going upstream to Spawn or something. I can't.
It's the orange, right?
The orange.
Yeah. Somebody walked into Studio C here last week. You remember that? They were wearing an orange shirt. And you went, I did. The Dutch, huh?
First thing I said.
And the guy goes, what?
He looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah. You love old Dutch potato chips to this day.
I did. Trust me. And the pretzels, don't get me started. The TSA is nobody's best friend. We all know that. You go to the airport. I mean, hey, glad that someone's working security.
Job's got to get done.
But so many times you find yourself looking at them going, is this the best you can come up with? The TSA tweeted recently simply this: peanut butter is a liquid. Like, now you're just trolling us? TSA? Come on.
All right.
People got really upset, and then they followed it up with, we said what we said. Again, peanut butter's liquid. So I guess what they're saying is they are classifying peanut butter as a liquid for their rules. If you're bringing a jar of peanut butter on a plane, I guess you got to... Really? A liquid?
I mean, now I can't enjoy my peanut butter on the plane.
I guess. Who's doing that?
I don't travel with peanut butter, but I suppose if I had traveled somewhere that had some extraordinary peanut butter, I remember having some in Hawaii. It had like coconut in it. It was very good. They made it differently down there.
Ooh.
I didn't bring any home.
Peanut butter with some coconut sounds good.
It was so tasty.
I bet it was.
I didn't bring it home, though, but now I know that I could not have.
Man.
Because I checked the bag for that.
Next thing you know, people are going to be saying
next
thing you know, they're going to be saying a hot dog is a sandwich. You got to watch yourself.
Shut your mouth.
Traveling with kids is always fun, by which I mean it's never fun. Check this out. A museum in Israel. A family of tourists were going through a museum in Israel that it has a collection of rare ancient artifacts, including like bowls and jugs from the Bronze Age. 3,500 years ago is the Bronze Age.
This is like stuff over there.
Yeah, between 1500 and 2200 BC. So if you see a vase or a bowl or any sort of artifact, a jug, for instance, that's that old, I don't care how it looks. That's impressive. A family at this museum, they encourage people to get up and close. They don't have these old artifacts behind glass or even behind a velvet rope. A 4-year-old boy picked up a jug and dropped it, and it shattered.
Well, I mean, that's not even on the kid. He's 4 years old. But don't they have a water park in Israel? Can they, take him over to the mini golf or the bouncy house or something
petting
like
zoo
that? Petting zoo would be a nice touch.
The museum's reaction was not what you might expect, as opposed to, locking the family down in a dark basement for a few years. They said, hey, look, he's a kid. It was a mistake. These things happen. Please come back anytime.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, if you're going to have that policy and you're going to let the kids in and they can get close to the vases, they're going to get broken. I guess they're not. I suppose when it comes to 3,500-year-old vases here, that would be like, oh, my God, that would be in bulletproof glass. But in Israel, we'll go find another one.
Yeah, there's a...
it's just
under everyone's house.
Yeah, really, man.
Go down to your basement and find me an old vase.
The 4-year-old's dad, as it happened, at the moment of truth, like in the moment when the security guards come rushing and everything, he said afterwards, he said, I was just in denial. He was literally going, he didn't do that. This didn't happen. He was having a panic attack.
Moisture with the Butterfingers.
I don't want to think about that experience if my 4-year-old child had been the kid in question, I really don't know how I would have. I would, the nausea would. I'd still be 20 years later trying to get over the nausea I would have felt if I watched my kid drop a 3,500-year-old jug.
Doing that nervous thing where you're opening your wallet, like I mean, I've got like 40. Which what's that over there? Run!
Ooh, that is rough, man. Why don't we look back on this day, August 29th, 1974, a high school basketball player in the state of Virginia named Moses Malone. First of all, arguably the greatest name for an athlete ever.
No doubt.
Moses Malone. I just, what a badass he had to have been. He didn't have a choice. He went straight from high school to the pros. He was the first guy to do that, and he was really good. A few players after him tried it. Didn't go so well until 1995 when a kid named Kevin Garnett was drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves 5th. Kevin Garnett, straight out of high school in South Carolina to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And let me just say, as a guy who was not living up here at that time, watching the NBA from a distance, man, I loved me some Kevin Garnett. I'll take any opportunity to discuss the greatness and how much I enjoyed. I saw him play in person several times, probably a dozen times over the years at a bunch of different places. And every time I walked out of the gym going, I just watched a unicorn on the court. Kevin Garnett, a league MVP, a defensive player of the year, and while still with Minnesota, a man who took them to the postseason, I believe, 8 straight seasons.
Yeah.
Love me some Garnett, and I love a man who's always prepared for a challenge.
So Game 7, man. That's it. It's all the marbles. I'm sitting in the house, I'm loading up the pump. I'm loading up the Uzi. I got a couple of M16s, a couple 9s. I got a couple joints with some silencers on them. I'm just loading up clips, a couple grenades. Got a missile launcher with a couple, missiles. I'm ready for war.
By the way, you would hear stories of people that would go over to his house. He had a place, I think out in Minnetonka, and they'd go out there and they'd be like, it's all go-karts and video games. He has an entire arcade in his house, as you would if you were a young professional athlete that was given all this money. That's what my joint would look like.
Hell yeah.
And I think he may have played a lot of video games because I understand exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, so of course, yeah. He got a lot of flack when he got that second contract. He was the first guy to ever be offered, I believe it was $100 million plus, and he turned it down initially, and people were just all in his face. And I remember thinking, like, nobody does what he does. He's just every few years some athlete says no to an exorbitant amount of money, and we all clutch our pearls, and it's like, yeah, it just means the next guy's going to get it. That's just how it always works.
Yeah.
And he turned that first deal down. Then the Wolves came back and gave him the money he was looking for, and the season tipped off, and everyone forgot because they were like, oh yeah, that's Kevin Garnett, and I can't do what he does, so why do I care how much money he makes?
Right.
Loved him.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.